Hello. So I just beat Batman Arkham Knight, as you can see here. Oh god, I'm trying to turn around. Yeah. 100% completion. So I got the uh ambiguous ask me what it means symbolism ending. And I thought like all our thoughts swirling around in my head. So I figured I'd just do like a quick little like post-game immediate aftermath video to just kind of compile all my thoughts all at once. And yeah, I really liked it, the game. I wouldn't say like game of the year because like I hate that as a concept anyway. Uh, I will say like of all the games that have come out so far, definitely like lived up to expectations to an extent. Because like I'm a huge fan of the Arkham games. Like Rocksteady can have my babies. Like these games are fantastic. And like I actually liked City way more than Asylum. Most people say like, "Oh, Asylum was better," but like I don't. I always have like more of a like you know how in like your literature classes in high school your teacher would like put way more thought into the story than the fucking author of the book did. That's what I do with games. Like I just put way more thought into analyzing the narrative and the themes of the games than probably was even intended by the writers. Cause like with Asylum, it was a lot more of a sort of a generic in terms of Batman. Just sort of just it was just a Batman story, you know. Like it was also like sort of an adaptation of a couple of uh there's been a few actually. There was no trying to do this on the fly. There was Arkham Asylum Living Hell and one other like Arkham Asylum. So like it was sort of like a game redentation of Living Hell and Arkham Asylum, which were like classic Batman comics. But like it was really sort of a face value narrative, which makes it a lot more boring to me. City had a lot more going on. Like that one was a sort of it evoked a lot from both Nightfall to a very minor degree, and No Man's Land to a much more drastic degree. But it was still like much more original, much more its own thing. It just like drawing influence from those stories rather than just being like straight page to screen sort of thing, like what I feel Asylum was. And in City, like I like the story chops of City always like fascinate me because there's so much going on there. And like I should have said this earlier, like I'm gonna spoil the shit out of the entire Arkham series. So if you haven't played all three of the games, including Night, I'm gonna spoil shit because I've got to get my thoughts out there. So like in City, the theme that it kind of had going for it in that was sort of like a deconstruction of Batman, where it was like, you know, this guy, he's like a vigilante, but he doesn't kill people. So like all that happens is the people he deals with just get thrown in jail and then they get out and then just go on wreaking more havoc over and over and over again. And there's no permanent solution here, and in the long term, more people get hurt than helped by Batman's policies to not kill people. And that was reflected in a lot of ways, both like very literally in like at the very end, Batman like literally says like, "Why should I even save you?" to the Joker, where he's like, "Why should I even save your life? You're just gonna go on and kill more people. This is always what happens between us. Why should I even bother?" It's like so pointless and just begets more suffering. And so like he says that, but it's also reflected in a lot more in terms of how the other characters act as well. And with the entire concept of Arkham City as a whole, like and with like Ra's al Ghul showing up, where crime in Gotham is so debilitatingly bad that Arkham City is seen as a rational idea. Take this borough of Gotham City and just section it off and throw everyone in there like a fucking laissez-faire Guantanamo Bay. Just fuck it. That's how bad things have gotten. Just fuck it. And there was more behind that decision, like in universe, but like that reflects a problem with the Batman mythos. Like it's like a city did to Batman what Knights of the Old Republic 2 did to Star Wars. It took kind of like the accepted status quo of the setting and said, "This is kind of ridiculous." You know that, right? Like, but it also like kind of did its own little kind of implied explanation for why things are that bad as well. Like what I liked was the backstory with Ra's al Ghul and Wonder City, where it was like Ra's found the Lazarus Pit, or this chemical substance, underneath Gotham, and that's where he built he built Gotham on top of this shit, on top of the Lazarus Pit, and went like, "Oh, I'm gonna like use this resource to get like infinite energy and create crazy robots." I'm Ra's al Ghul. But then like it's explained that like the Lazarus Pit has corruptive effects where it's fucking up Ra's al Ghul's brain, and like he's like, "Dude, I like oh." And Batman's like, "You gotta give it up, bro. It's like an addictive substance, and it's fucking you up." And he's like, "I know, but at the same time, I gotta kill criminals, dude, and you're not helping me out here. You gotta cut me some slack here." And Batman's like, But like, that backstory kinda explains why Gotham's so fucked up. Like, the Lazarus Pit is corrupting and addictive, and it turns people crazy, and the entire city is literally built on top of it. It's built on top of the fucking Lazarus Pit. No shit, crime is insane. No shit, people just go nuts. No shit, there's crazy supervillains like the fucking Joker and Two-Face and fucking crazy shit like that. So, even apart from Batman, it sets up this kind of like, because that's another big theme it brings up. It brings up this idea of Batman creating his own villains. Like, Doctor Strange literally says, like, how many of these so-called supervillains would exist if you weren't around? You create these things. Your presence inspires them, and in some cases literally causes them to take form. Like, whatever the Joker's like origin is, it's definitely tied to Batman in some way. The Joker would not exist without Batman. And that's not even to mention, like, Two-Face was created when Harvey Dent was splashed with acid during a court procedure from a criminal that Batman brought in. And Penguin has this long-standing grudge against the Wayne family, and etc., etc. So, like, all these villains who have done irreparable damage to the world, literally Batman is the cause of this issue. But then that's and like people are chewing him out for that. But then at the same time, you turn around, the only reason things are so bad in Gotham, or so it's implied, or you could like kind of take away, is because of the fucking Lazarus Pit and all that shit that Ra's al Ghul was doing to it. So it turns it around. It says like, well, you're no better. Like you're bitching out Bruce Wayne over here, and you caused the problem from the get-go. Like, who said there would even be a Batman if not for that fucking, like one bad day in the alley? Like, that's what, and the environment, the hellscape that Gotham exists because Ra's al Ghul. Like, you want to talk about creating your own enemy? Ra's created Batman. By extension. But like, yeah, shit, and that's not even getting into like the biblical overtones, which are like both up front in terms of Azrael's presence, because he's like a Templar Crusader kind of guy, where he's like literally from a holy order, but like the very first thing you see in that game, if you're doing with the Catwoman DLC, which is the intended experience, the very first thing you see is a painting depicting Cain and Abel, where Cain is carrying a dead Abel, who he just killed. And that imagery gets reflected at the end of the game, when Batman carries out the Joker's dead body. Like, literally that exact same pose, and that's what it's evoking. It's evoking that relationship. And amusingly enough, Batman's Cain in that comparison. Where, like, Joker and Batman's relationship is the running theme throughout the entire trilogy. Like, all three games, like, that is kind of like the underlaying kind of foundation of the plots, and then like all this other stuff involving the Batman universe and Batman as a character and all these other characters is kind of built on top of that. And that really gets fucking like really dives into that fucking psychotic bullshit at night. To a sense where, like, initially I was kind of like, what? But then I was like, oh man, that's what, I don't even care how fucking convoluted it is. Like, this is some good shit right here. But yeah, really liked City. Really liked City. When I was about, like, halfway through Arkham Knight, I was like, this is good, but I think I like City more. Like, City's still, like, my favorite of the series. But now that I finished Night, I don't know. I don't know anymore. Like, it's a real fucking toss-up. Because I'm not sure. Like, how would you even grade that? Because, like, obviously Night is an improvement in terms of gameplay and mechanics, right? And, like, the open world is so much bigger, and the Batmobile is fun, and, like, there's more game here to like, but like there's also some things Knight did that let me down, you know? And that's not to say City was perfect either. So like it really comes down to how you grade it, I guess. And maybe it'll depend on my mood. I think it really is like kind of comparing The Dark Knight to The Dark Knight Rises. Like that's the most obvious comparison, because like Arkham Knight is really kind of evoking what Rises did. Not like straight up, but like, because Rising was based very much on Nightfall. Like, up to the point where fucking Bane, he fucking breaks the bat. Like, that's clearly the inspiration there. Arkham Knight had a little bit of Nightfall. It had that going for it. It had that kind of substance in there. But it was also much more of a, like, in terms of influence from the comics, it was drawing incredibly heavily from Under the Red Hood and Death in the Family. With the character of the Red Hood and Jason Todd and all that shit. And like, I'm starting to get tired, so it's hard for me to think of the specific words I'm trying to think of, but like, it's less original than City was, I guess. But like, at the same time, like, it's really kind of like tackling the subject of Batman as a concept, like like the iconic cultural idea of Batman. You know, like, because that's something that crosses into sort of a meta narrative. Like, City was exploring Batman as like from a philosophical level. Arkham Knight is exploring it from a like sociological level, if that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. It's also confronting Batman as the individual a lot more. Like, the entire game is just him like kind of accepting his own death. That ending, am I right? It's him accepting his own death, the inevitability that, you know, like, this is my last night. From moment one, he's kind of aware, I'm done. After this, I'm done. This is the last night. After this, it's all over. And he kind of has to deal with that in many different factors. Both thinking, like, what am I gonna do with myself, with my life as Bruce Wayne, when I put the cow away? But then he's also like, am I still gonna have a life? Because like, he's very much confronting the fact that he could literally die. Like, there's the symbolic death of Batman as like a superhero identity being put out to pasture. But then he's also like, I could die. Like, let's be upfront here. Who knows what's gonna happen? The pulse might stop. I could lose my mind. I could go insane because reasons. Very, very comic book silly kind of reasons. But like, I didn't mind it. Like, even though like the whole idea of like, I said straight up spoilers. The whole idea of like the Joker's blood in his body acting like a parasite, where the Joker is literally in his brain trying to take over. Like, that's so fucking stupid! Like, that's the stupidest comic book bullshit that this series has ever done. Like, that's the dumbest fucking stupid thing. But I didn't mind. You know, because A, comic book bullshit. Like, fucking, like, suspension of disbelief, fine. I get, and you know, it's worth it because of A, Mark Hamill gets the chance to be a fucking liar. Oh, I'm done playing the Joker now. After Arkham City, that was my last performance. I'm never gonna play this character again. Sure thing, Mark. Sure thing. Yeah, you're never gonna play the Joker again. We all totally believe you, buddy. There was this gif from, like, Pitch Perfect where it's like, when someone asks Mark Hamill, are you ever gonna play the Joker again? And he's like, no. Like it's just the GIF. It's funnier. Anyway, but like that had some really good sequences to it. Like all the parts where like from a psychological standpoint, the idea that Batman is a very literal schizophrenic in this game, where he is straight up having visual, auditory, and sensory hallucinations. And like, I really liked how, like, throughout the entire game, he's like, I'm just not even gonna acknowledge it. He doesn't talk to his hallucination. He doesn't, like, most of the time, he doesn't even look at it. Like, he gives it a passing glance of annoyance. But, like, other than that, he doesn't, like, engage with it in any way, which is the healthy thing to do. You're supposed to ignore that shit, right? I believe. You're supposed to, like, the more you feed that voice in your head, the more kind of control it has over you. Oh, it's a very complicated subject. Like, my boyfriend's, like, really big into schizophrenia. So, like, I would wonder what his thoughts would be on this if, like, if he played this, or if he was on the couch with me watching me play it. Because I found it very engrossing, that whole thing. And then there was the fact that, like, the sequences where he's kind of losing control. Because the fact that Scarecrow's the principal villain really sets up for a lot of fun opportunities that they really took advantage of. Like, this game had the most fuck moments. Like, I had the reveal of who the Arkham Knight was spoiled for me, unfortunately, even though it was incredibly obvious after a point. Like, even if I didn't have it spoiled for me, I would have been like, oh, it's gonna be this. I guess I'm tired. But, like, even aside from that, like, there was plenty this game did where I was like, oh, shit, I can't believe they did that. But then I was like, oh, shit, they did do it, and oh, and they turned it around, and they, I can't believe it. Like when fucking... And then it turns out it wasn't. I was like, oh, I'm so happy. I'm glad. Yay. Because I was like, dude. Because, like, when that happened, when she died, I was like, no. Like, I can, like, there's some like, fucking retards are inventing controversy out of nothing again because they're retards. Of, like, oh, the female characters rooming in refrigerators. And I was like, okay, they're dumb, but I am really, really pissed off that this character is dead. Like, really pissed off. But then it turned out she wasn't dead, so I was like, woo, yeah! Like, I was genuinely really happy. Genuinely really happy. But, like with the Scarecrow being set up as the principal villain, where his whole thing is, like, he has the fear toxin, and he, like, makes you confront your greatest fear. And, like, Joker literally has a line where he's like, so becoming me, that's your fear. Like, that's what Batman is afraid of. He is afraid of becoming a monster, a murderer, an unrepentant psychopath, like the Joker, but also in a very literal way, he's afraid of losing his mind to the Joker, considering, like, the affliction he has. But, like, there's so many layers to that. It reminds me, like, again, of a line from Under the Red Hood, where Jason Todd is like, why didn't you kill him? Like, dude, why didn't you kill him? And he's like, it would be so easy for me to kill him, but I can't go down that road. Like, if I did it, then that would just be it. Like, there's no coming back to that. From that. And, like, that's... And, like... Because in Arkham Knight, Batman's dealing with the guilt of unintentionally and arguably not even being remotely responsible for the Joker's death. Like, the Joker fucking died. And he is dealing with that guilt. And, like... their relationship is always, like, optimistically considered two-sided. Like, the line from The Dark Knight where he's like, "Oh, I can see you and me are gonna be doing this forever and ever. This is what happens when the unstoppable force meets the immovable object." And, like, what happens when fucking Joker's dead? Where does that leave Batman? And, like, I was really gratified by the end of the story, he realized, like, no, fuck you. I don't need to carry that cross. Like, I don't need him. I'm me. Look at how great this fucking support system I have is. It's not my fault. I'm fucking vengeance. I'm fucking the Knight. I'm Batman. I ain't gotta take your bullshit. And then Joker's like, no, I need you. Don't leave me. And Batman's like, fuck it. That's done. Like, dropping that fucking baggage. It's really great. Like, it reminds me of All-Star Superman. Like, that's a good comparison to me. Where, like, Superman, like, kinda, like, cleans up. Cause in All-Star Superman, like, he dies. Superman dies. Or he's, like, kinda, like, fixing the world as much as he can, and, like, cleaning out all the baggage before he goes. And that's, Arkham Knight is Batman's version of All-Star Superman, where it's like the last days of fucking, like, he has to, like, find closure both in his personal identity and in what he does, what he is to Gotham as a symbol. Where he says, like, I am not what this city needs anymore. I can't be that. I've been doing this for so long, but, like, the world has kind of left me by. So, like, I need to find out what this is without that. If I even live. Like, it's like the conflict really is engrossing. Because, like, I forget who it is. It's some, like, author or writer guy. It's like a Joseph Campbellian kind of person. I don't think it was Joseph Campbell, but, like, on that caliber, where he was like, there's only 3 stories in the world. Like, every single story in the world can be categorized under one of these 3 categories. And it's like, man versus man versus the world, or man versus himself. Those are the 3 stories that exist. And this has all fucking 3. It has Batman versus man, as in the criminal element, his fellow man. Batman versus the world, as in, like, his relationship to Gotham City and the world at large that sees him as a superhero, and what he has to surrender in order to be that. And then Batman versus himself, with his own internal conflicts. And in a sense, it surpasses City's themes in that sense, where it's like Arkham City was a deconstruction of what Batman is. Like, before Arkham Knight came out, I was saying, like, this is a reconstruction of what Batman is. It's not. It's sort of like a denouement to the idea of Batman. Like, if this was the last Batman anything ever made, which obviously it's not, but, like, hypothetically speaking, if this was the final thing of Batman, like after this, culture just said, no more, it would be satisfying. Like, this really puts a cap on the entire concept. Both the character and the idea of it. The idea of the Caped Crusader. But yeah, like I said, not perfect also. Because there's a couple things that I was like, Like, it definitely had balls to the wall, like, oh, fuck moments. But there were a couple moments where I was like, one of the biggest ones, like, early on is, like, the Riddler shit. Like, and that's not to say, like, I didn't necessarily not like what they did with Riddler this time around, but it's still, like, again? Like, you get tired of it. Play a different fucking song. Like, if you want to count Origins, which I do not. I don't count Origins. That game didn't fucking happen. But if you do count Origins, that's 4 games. 4 games in a row of fucking Riddler. Like, we fucking get it, guys. Jesus. And I guess, like, every open world game, every Metroidvania game needs its collectibles. And that's what Riddler served. That was the purpose he served in these games. Because, like, of all the Batman villains, that's the best one you can have, and it's an excuse. Like, who else in this canon could you think of that'd be like, I'm gonna leave a bunch of shit around that Batman can go collect while exploring the world, because that's what you do in open world games. You explore and scavenger hunt. And the puzzles were pretty good. Like, they're usually pretty fun. They're usually fun to figure out. This had some good ones. And the whole story of, like, Catwoman being captured had some great moments. And the puzzles with them working together were great. And the dual play with Batman and Catwoman fighting Riddler's robots and stuff, those are my favorite dual play ones of all of them. Like, compared to Nightwing and Robin, where he also had some dual play with that. But, like, it's not bad, but it's like, we fucking get it. It reminds me of, like, the new Super Mario Bros. Games, where it's like, the first time you're like, yeah, the second time you're like, again, sure, and then the third time you're like, are we seriously doing this again? And then the fourth time you're like, okay, I'm done. There's nothing wrong with what you're doing here. It's well done, it's well made, I'm sick of it, fuck you. Like, that's what it feels like. You can have too much of a good fucking thing. Like, fuck. Anyway. And then there was also a couple side quests that just kind of fell flat. Like the pig side quest, the identity eraser. Like, that really felt like it was setting up for Hush. And Hush does show up. And I was happy about that. I was happy that Hush got some conclusion. But, like, the pig side quest really felt like it was setting up for Hush, but then it wasn't. It was just some weird fucking pig guy, and that was dumb. Like, that's really scraping the bottom of the fucking barrel for fucking Batman villains, dude. Like, pig. Have you ever fucking heard of that guy? I haven't. It's fucking retarded. Anyway. Like, that was kind of a letdown. Like, any other like, it could have been fucking, like, off the top of my head. You know what, Ratcatcher. That actually would have been really funny. That actually would have been really fucking funny if it turned out to be Ratcatcher the whole time. Even though he was, like, implied to be dead in Arkham City, I liked Ratcatcher. He's cool. He's a cool guy. Like, one of the very few villains that actually seemed to get toned down in the Arkhamverse. Like, almost all the super villains, all the rogues gallery in the Arkhamverse got, like, amped up to be more gritty and evil. Like, Ratcatcher was kind of like, he's fine. He's an okay guy. Petty larceny at best. And, like, he had a fine little thing going on in Arkham City where he smuggled in, like, little luxury goods, like playing cards and candy, toothbrushes, shit like that. Like, that's really cute and original, and then he fucking died, which is frustrating. I ain't gotta kill Ratcatcher, man. He was a cool guy. Could have shown up, could have been the guy. But no, Pigman. Nah. I'm Pigman. And then fucking Firefly was in it, and I was like, stop acknowledging Arkham Origins. The worst parts of this game are the parts where it's like, hey, remember Arkham Origins? I have been drinking for the last 2 years trying to forget Rocksteady. Thanks, though. Thanks for reminding me. Fuck Origins. So terrible. But it... I want to wash out my mouth with soap. Even thinking this. But the fucking Deathstroke confrontation was so disappointing. Like, the only good thing about fucking Origins was the Deathstroke fight. And I was so looking forward to that. I was so looking forward to Rocksteady being like, we're gonna do the Deathstroke fight right this time because we're good developers, unlike those fucking hacks. And we're gonna have you fight Deathstroke in a way he was meant to be fought. But then, nope, fucking tanks. Fucking tanks. So disappointing. Like, fucking Origins did something better than fucking Rocksteady in that. Not happy with it. Not happy with it. Not happy with it at all. Although that does remind me, like, some of my favorite things about this game were the things that weren't in it. Like, no Bane. No Mr. Freeze. No Mad Hatter. Like, it would have been so easy to bring him back, especially since this story evoked so much from Nightfall. You could have easily had Bane, but no, they resisted. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that they went, no, we're not just gonna do the same fucking thing again. We're gonna, like, try and be a little bit more original. Or at least expand on things we did before, but take them in a different direction. They didn't do what fucking Origins did. The worst part about Origins, aside from the fact that it was fucking garbage, was the fact that it was just a rehash of everything that City did. Oh, the fucking Mad Hatter side quest. Oh, Bane's a villain. Oh, gotta fight Bane. Oh, look, it's Mr. Freeze in the DLC. Just fight Mr. Freeze again. It's the same fucking thing. Hey, look, it's the fucking Origins was terrible. And Knight was like, no, we're not gonna just do the same thing again. We're gonna try doing different things. If that means fucking Pigman, fine. But no, Pigman sucked. Didn't like Pigman. Take the Pigman away. Get rid of that Pigman. It does make me, like, really look forward to what they're gonna do with some of the DLC. Because, like, part of me's thinking, like, are they gonna leave this ending open-ended and ambiguous like it was? Or are they just gonna leave it there and say, fuck you, think it for yourself? Or is the last, or one of the last DLCs they have planned gonna be like a conclusion? Gonna be like like all the answers DLC. Like, here's what happened afterwards, here's the new status quo of the Arkhamverse of Batman. I don't know, I'm kind of looking forward to that, because, like, I would be fine with either one. Honestly, I would be fine if this was like, that's it, we're done, continuity's over, this is it, we're done, bowing out, and then, like, all the DLC is just gonna be, like, either prequel stuff or side stories and stuff that, like, just leaves that ending the way it was. I would be happy with that. But I would also be happy if they did release some story DLC that's like, okay, here's what the fuck we were talking about, you idiots. And I'd be like, thanks! I'm happy that you're explaining this to me because I'm stupid. But yeah. No. It's like, fucking Rocksteady. They're great. I'm really looking forward to what they come out with next. Because these games, I feel like it has restored a little bit of my humanity. Like, after the Mass Effect trilogy, just fucking, like, well, there's 7 years of my life just down the toilet, pointless, no reason, just put 7 years and over $300 at minimum. Gave it to that series. Poured my heart into it. And what happened? They killed me. They killed my heart. They took my heart and they went, fuck you, heart, and they stabbed it. Combine that with Colonial Marines, and that's basically what killed the fucking childhood of my innocence. Like, I'm just a gross, horrible, jaded, cynical, bitter old man now. But this game, you know what? It brought that back. It brought me back. I can say that to you, Rocksteady. You defibrillated the childhood glee and delight at being like, oh my god, something I love was good. I'm so happy. I genuinely am. Like, oh my goodness. I got Asylum. Loved it. Got City. Loved it. Ignore Origins. Hate it. This game, the third game, the trilogy, the only one that matters after City. And it pulled it off. It fucking pulled it off. Like, how often can you say that? How many fucking video game trilogies can you think of that were fucking good, and, like, well-constructed as a trilogy, B? Where it sets up the concept, here's Batman, breaks the concept down and says, like, let's explore what this really is. And then closes out, says, okay, this is the conclusion of this concept, we're done with it now. Rocksteady, guys, you're the new top for me. Like, it used to be fucking, it used to be BioWare, but now it's Rocksteady. Rocksteady, that's the position they hold for me now. That is the acclaim in which I hold them. I can't wait to see what they do next. I really can't. Part of me wants to be like, I hope they'll do a Superbad game. They did it with Batman. Like, who thought it would even have been possible to do a good Batman game? Like, back before Asylum came out, do you remember the fucking games available at the time? It wasn't great. And then Arkham Asylum came out and was like, hey, it can be done. So I don't know, maybe they'll pull the rug out and go like, hey, thought Superman couldn't be done? Here you go. But I don't know. Part of me wants to believe that'll happen, where Rocksteady will make a Superman game. Part of me wants to believe that, but I don't know. I also want to hope that they'll just do an original property. Well, they'll, like, kind of disassociate themselves from WB Games, because, boy, WB Games has not been helping this game. Boy, has WB Games been doing everything they could to fucking kneecap this game. Like, it's not enough that DC has to just cut off its own dick, but they gotta cut off at the knees people who are working for them. They gotta fuck up the movies, and they gotta say, hey, Rocksteady, that's a nice game you got there. It would be a shame if something happened to it. Like a fucking horrible PC port, and a $40 season pass. God knows what other scummy business practices, and that's all anyone can talk about. No one's talking about how great this fucking game is. No one's talking about how great the fucking twists and reveals and interpretations of the various fucking thing and thematics it has going for it and that fucking ending. No one's talking about that shit, because all anyone's fucking talking about is the fucking terrible PC port and what a bunch of scum fucks WB Games are. Fucking thanks a lot, WB Games. You fucking assholes. This game's amazing. Talk about it. Talk about how great this game is. Talk about how great Rocksteady are. Send them support, send them life, send them love, and then drop it. Because this game's great. This game's fucking great. This game's fucking great. But yeah. I know. Concluding thoughts. Bring back Cassandra Cain. That is all. Thanks for watching. Sorry I rambled for God knows how long in a really tired state in which I was pretty inarticulate, more so than usual. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of this, I guess. See you next time.